You were not born by coincidence. You were not placed in this time by chance or random alignment of events. The God who formed the stars, who measured the waters in the hollow of his hand, ordained that you would walk the earth not in the days of peace, but in the days of shaking, not in the age of silence, but in the hour of thunder. You were born for the edge of time, for the days when the veil is lifted, and what was hidden is revealed. The prophets longed to see the days you live in now. The apostles looked ahead to this moment. They saw it from afar, and they cried out for a generation who would not run from the fire but would carry it. And now that mantle has fallen on you, you are not a spectator of prophecy, you are a participant in it. You are the continuation of the book of Acts and the living echo of Revelation. You stand in the tension of two worlds, the kingdom that is fading and the kingdom that cannot be shaken. Every storm, every shaking, every birth pain around you is not a sign of the end, it's a summons. It is the voice of destiny calling you forth. You were not called to survive this age. You were called to transform it. You were born for such a time as this, when truth is rare, when light is costly, when compromise is everywhere, and when the line between the holy and the profane must be drawn with courage. You were not designed to hide in fear or retreat in comfort. You were fashioned to stand where others fall, to burn with a fire that darkness cannot quench, and to speak with a voice that echoes the roar of the Lion of Judah. You were chosen for the midnight hour to be a lamp that burns, a voice that cries, a soul that does not bow. This is not the time for passive faith. This is not the hour for lukewarm devotion. The seals are breaking, the angels are sounding, and the King is moving. Heaven is not looking for the qualified. It is looking for the willing. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to say yes, because you were born not for safety, not for silence, but for battle. You were born for the apocalypse, and when the world trembles, you will rise, not in your strength, but in His. The scroll is no longer sealed. What once was hidden is now unveiled. The mysteries long kept in the hands of angels are now breaking forth into history. The seals are being opened, one by one, and the divine countdown has begun. We are no longer waiting for the book of Revelation to start. It has already started. The events foretold are not coming. They are unfolding. The signs are not subtle anymore. They are shaking the earth, roaring through the nations, crying out from the heavens. The scroll in the hand of the Lamb is not a passive document. It is a declaration of war, a divine verdict on the kingdoms of man, and a pathway to the final victory of the King of Kings. With each broken seal, history turns a page. With each trumpet, heaven announces its agenda. With each bowl, judgment is poured, and the world reels in response. This is not fiction. This is not poetry. This is the reality behind the headlines, the truth behind the chaos, the divine storyline behind the shaking. And still many slumber. Still many walk as though time is on their side, as if the warnings are for another age, another people, another generation. But the scroll is open now. The hourglass of heaven is in motion. The delay is over. We are not waiting on prophecy. Prophecy is waiting on us. The clock is ticking not toward destruction, but toward destiny. Every moment is a window. Every breath is a mercy. Every day is a final call to repentance and readiness. This is the hour when the church must stop debating and start discerning. This is the hour to wake up from complacency and rise into calling. The scroll does not wait for the comfortable. It summons the courageous. It does not cater to entertainment. It demands consecration. The King has broken the seal not to entertain us, but to empower us, to call His bride to prepare, to purify, and to proclaim. This is not just about knowing what's coming. It's about becoming who you must be before it does. If the scroll is open, your life must be open. Your heart must be open. Your hands must be ready. You are living in prophetic days, not by accident but by assignment. The time is short. The urgency is real. The scroll is open, and the clock is ticking. Babylon is not just a city. It is a spirit. It is the system of seduction that has threaded itself through the nations, through economies, through religions, through hearts. It is glittering, tempting, powerful, and deadly. It is the wine of deception that causes kings to stagger, and the blood of saints that cries out from the ground.
Babylon is the culture that exalts self, mocks holiness, trades truth for pleasure, and crowns rebellion as freedom.
And it is everywhere. She is dressed in purple and scarlet, adorned with gold and jewels, but her beauty is poisoned. She is the counterfeit bride, a harlot mimicking glory, offering false comfort and temporary pleasure while leading souls into judgment. Her voice is loud in this hour, calling you to compromise, to comfort, to conformity. Her message is simple: blend in, bow down, go along. But God is calling with a voice stronger than hers. Come out of her, my people, lest you share in her sins and receive of her plagues. To come out of Babylon is to come out of spiritual adultery, to sever ties with every idol, to reject every lie that says you can have the world and still walk in the fire of God. It is not just about a physical place, it is about the heart. You cannot carry Babylon in your pocket and walk into Zion with clean hands. You cannot feast at her table and dine at the Lord's altar. The call to come out is not a suggestion, it is a rescue, for her fall is certain. Her power is temporary, her days are numbered. She will collapse in a single hour, and the kings of the earth will weep, not because they loved her, but because they lost what she gave them. She gave them control. She gave them pleasure. She gave them license to sin. But in the end she will give them judgment, and if you stay in her, you will fall with her. The time to separate is now, before she burns, before the wrath is poured, before the door is shut. This is not the hour for lukewarm loyalty or halfway holiness. This is the hour for radical separation, to come out from among them and be different, to live with eternity in your eyes and the fire of heaven in your bones. Babylon may be loud, but the voice of the bridegroom is louder. Babylon may glitter, but the glory of God outshines it all. The world is fading, and only what is built on the rock will remain. Come out. Not tomorrow, not when it's convenient, not after one more taste. Come out now, before she falls, because her fall will be final, and your calling is higher, your destiny is greater, and your king is coming. Don't be found in her when judgment comes. Be found in him, holy, set apart, and ready. The Lamb wins. That is the anchor of the book of Revelation, the final word in the battle between light and darkness. He is the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world, the one who purchased men for God with his blood, the center of heaven's worship, and the judge of the earth. He bears the scars of sacrifice, yet he stands in glory. He does not need to fight for victory, asterisk, he is the victory. Asterisk, his blood has already overcome, his cross has already triumphed, his resurrection has already broken the power of death. But do not be deceived by his gentleness, for the Lamb is also the asterisk, lion asterisk. The same Jesus who gave his life now comes to take his throne. The same one who stood silent before Pilate now rides with eyes like fire and a sword from his mouth. He is not returning as the silent Savior, but as the roaring King. The roar has begun. Can you hear it? It roars through the nations, shaking and trembling. It roars through the collapse of empires and the rising of the remnant. It roars through the earthquakes and storms, through the fires and floods. It roars through the cries of the persecuted and the prayers of the saints. It is the roar of authority, the roar of justice, the roar of the one who will not be mocked. The lion is roaring, and everything built on sand is beginning to fall. He is not coming to negotiate. He is not returning to blend in. He is coming to reign, to rule, and to establish a kingdom that cannot be shaken. The Lamb wins not by avoiding battle, but by entering it, by conquering sin and crushing the serpent. And now the lion is roaring to awaken his people, to shake the earth, and to prepare the way. This is the Jesus the world does not want to see, the one with a robe dipped in blood, the one who treads the winepress of God's wrath, the one whose name is faithful and true. This is not the safe Jesus. This is the Holy One, the burning one, the consuming fire, and to those who know him his roar is not terror, it is power. It is love that will not be silent while his people sleep. It is the sound of war that calls the righteous to rise. Now is not the time to present a tame Jesus. The world doesn't need a watered-down gospel. It needs the Lion and the Lamb. The world needs to know that the one who forgives also reigns, that the one who came in weakness is returning in glory, that mercy has a limit and grace has a deadline. The roar of the lion is not to be ignored. It is a wake-up call, a line in the sand, a divine summons to choose sides before the final clash. The lamb wins, that is your confidence, but the lion is roaring, and that is your call. Don't wait for the battle to be over to decide where you stand. Decide now, live now, burn now, because the king is not silent, and the time for passive faith is over. Let his roar awaken you, refine you, and release you, for you were made not only to behold the Lamb, but to follow the Lion. The book of Revelation was not written for the faint of heart. It was not crafted to entertain the curious or to satisfy the intellectual. It is a letter to the overcomers, to those who will not bow, will not break, will not back down, even as the world around them burns. The very atmosphere of Revelation is fire. The fire of judgment, the fire of testing, and the fire of God's glory. And yet, in the midst of the shaking, in the midst of the plagues, the persecution, the dragons and beasts, there stands a people, a remnant, a company marked not by fear, but by asterisk fire. Asterisk, and these are the overcomers. They are not perfect. They are not powerful by the world's standards. They are not always understood, and often they are rejected. But they are faithful. They have oil in their lamps when others are asleep. They cling to the Lamb when the world runs after the beast. They do not overcome by sword or strength, but by something far greater, asterisk, the blood of the Lamb, the word of their testimony, and a love that does not bow even in the face of death. Asterisk, overcomers rise in the fire, not because the fire is easy, but because the fire is necessary. It is in the fire that the impurities are burned, that the hidden is revealed, that the dross is removed and the gold emerges. God is not looking for those who run from the furnace. He is calling those who are refined by it. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego didn't survive the fire. They met the fourth man in it, and so it will be in the last days. The fire will increase, the cost will rise, the pressure will mount, but the overcomers will not only stand, they will shine. This is not the time for soft faith or casual Christianity. This is not the hour to blend in with Babylon or flirt with compromise. The overcomer is one who chooses the narrow way when the broad road is easy. The overcomer is the one who says, even if he does not deliver me, still I will not bow. Heaven is not applauding the successful. It is crowning the faithful. To every church in Revelation, the Spirit says one thing again and again, to him who overcomes. There is no reward without resistance. There is no crown without a cross. There is no glory without the fire, and the fire is coming. It is already here. It is the fire of testing, the fire of exposure, the fire of holiness. And while many will fall away, those who endure, those who cling to Christ, those who live with eternity in their eyes, they will rise. They will not just survive the end, they will reign through it. The throne is not for the passive, it is reserved for those who overcome. So do not fear the flames, do not run from the furnace, for in that fire God is raising a bride who is pure, a church who is bold, and a people who will not be silenced. The dragon may rage, the beast may threaten, the world may shake, but the overcomers will rise, not because of who they are, but because of who lives in them. Because greater is he who is in them than he who is in the world. This is your call. This is your identity. You are not a victim of the times. You are a victor through the Lamb. You were not born for retreat. You were born to overcome. Rise, shine, endure, burn, for the fire is not your end. It is your elevation, and the one who walks among the lampstands is calling your name. So I say to you, child of God, stand up, open the book, let the journey begin, let the scroll speak, let the bride arise, for the time is near, the king is coming, and the revelation is not just a prophecy, it is your calling.